Hello, welcome to One Africa Mission with your brother Dobia Anzansi. Please, if you are new here, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, One Africa Mission. And also follow us on Facebook, One Africa Mission. We are missionaries, we are young Africans, and our mission is to fight for the unification of Africa. Until Africa is united, we will not rest. This is our mission. This was the mission of our forefathers. And then they have handed down the baton to us, and then we must take it to an end. And then we have the chance never before, as I keep saying, and never before granted to any generation of Africans. We have the chance never before afforded to any generation of Africans to see a united Africa in our lifetimes, to bring an end to the suffering of African people. The reason why we are so passionate about this thing is that when you sit down and watch and then ask yourself, how can a continent that have the most resources than any continent on this planet Earth, children will be running out of Africa to go and be slaves in other people's country? You ask yourself, how can a continent that has the most arable land on this planet Earth cannot feed herself? Why? What is the reason? Who is manipulating us? Who is kind of like controlling us? And what? And we all know that yes, there are people who are controlling us because we are not independent. So you ask yourself, why? Who give them who give them that gasp to be manipulating Africa, to be telling us what to do, and to be doing what they are doing to us? What can we do to bring an end to it? So if you sit down and then you watch all those kind of stuff, you analyze it, then you realize that we have work to do if only we want to bring an end to the suffering of Africa, and to bring a change, so that generations that will come before us will judge us, or will have our names in good books of history, so that we will not be blamed for what we come to meet, but we will be celebrated for the change we brought. So I thank you very much for coming around. Please, today, we're going to Britain, Calais, as the border between Britain and France. And then if you watch this video as an African, and then you don't sit back and reflect, then I wonder if you really love and care about Africa. These are young, energetic Africans. These are young Africans whom knowledge, whom strength, whom energy that Africa needs. And these people came from very rich continent, and that is the continent of Africa. And yet you see them running, risking their lives just to catch trailers to travel from France to Britain, and then see the humiliation the media is putting them through. And according to the reporter here, these are people from Sudan. And as me and you know, Sudan is a very rich country. So how come a country that is rich as Sudan, children will be going through this, to go to a country that is not even rich when it comes to resources wise? They tell us that riches doesn't come from resources, it comes from the brain. So if we as African people, if we cannot sit back, especially we the youth of Africa, put aside our differences, put our religious differences aside, put our political differences aside, put our tribal differences aside, and fight for a collective good of Africa, for all of us, then we will see our children or the next generation continue to be running after trailers like this to travel outside of Africa. Is it not so? Let's watch the video. It's a very short video. Let's watch it.
To open the door, but none of them climb on. A little further on, the driver stops. He's clearly aware of what's just happened.
So you can see he's just closing the door there, but there are some of the guys who were trying to get on the truck are already making their way up here.
And seconds later, even before we were back in the car, they were past us and onto the truck. The route down to the port here is not like larger ports, Calais or Dunkirk, where motorways lead straight to the dockside. Here the trucks must snake through the town. It makes them much more vulnerable to this.
The police are there.
The police do what they can with the resources they have. Around our car, the young men don't like being filmed.
So even right in front of the police there, they're trying to get on.
In all, we counted 18 young men get on. Most got off again. But 4, maybe 5, it was hard to see, made it to the port entrance. There, where every truck is checked, 4 were discovered. We can't be sure, but it's possible 1 remained inside. And why England?
England is good. Good. Huh?
How do you know England's good?
My family here, my brother, big in England.
Your brother is in England?
Yeah.
And how did he get to England? On the trucks?
Yeah, here.
Here?
Yeah.
He was here?
Yeah, in here I'm going England.
And he told you to come here?
Yeah.
We watch another trucks dash to the port. And then an exchange with some locals and a moment which demonstrates a divide over migration that stretches across this continent.
J'habite ici
Oui.
et nous n'avons jamais été agressés. C'est vrai qu'il y en a beaucoup par moment qui courent après les camions. Mais sincèrement, on ne peut pas dire qu'il y ait des problèmes.
Vous agressé un jour comme moi à Paris.
Oui, vous êtes à Paris, nous sommes à Riva.
Nous, on a pris des agressions. J'ai été agressée par 7 Arabes dans le métro parce que j'étais debout. Eux étaient assis, mais ils sont venus me boxer. Mon fils s'est fait balafrer au visage, madame. Vous ne savez pas ce qui va se passer.
So as they keep talking, it's quite clear that this is causing real tensions within this community, and you can see the migrants are continuing to gather as they do every day and every night all across this village.
So as you can see, is it not depressing to see young Africans going through this? According to the reporter, these are teenagers, 18 years, 20, in their early 20s. Africa has a lot for them. They have a lot. Africa has a lot for them. And yet they cannot benefit from what God has given to Africa. Why? You see, what we should know is that in this life, God created man, and man created reality. God created man, and man created reality. So if you sit down and allow another man, he will take advantage of you and create your reality for you. And that is what has happened to Africans. I am so touched and moved. That is why you see me normally. I talk with passion. I talk with. I shout a lot, but you can see how calm I am because I'm reflecting through this, and I'm asking myself, how come we allow other people to create a reality that is so diamond for Africa, for us as African citizens? We have allowed other people because, as I said, God created man and man created his reality. So if you allow another man, he will create heaven for himself and create hell for you. And that is what we African people have allowed other people to create hell for us as Africans. Because everywhere we go, we are catching hell. It doesn't matter which country you're coming from. It doesn't matter which tribe you are coming from. It doesn't matter which religion you belong to. We're all catching the same hell. So it is about time we put all differences aside, because there is one thing that is uniting us, and that is Africa. Because when we go to Britain, you see these people who are dying to go to Britain, when they get there, they're going to even regret it. Some of them perish on their way to France. Some of them perish. We are seeing it every day. Some of them, even when they reach on their way to this Western world, when they reach North Africa, what they will go through even within Africa. Some of them will perish in the desert. To Morocco, when they get to Morocco, Tunisia, we see what they are doing to them. Even though their destination is not Tunisia, even though their final destination is not Morocco. It's just a transit point that they are using. But you will see the dehumanization the Moroccans and the Tunisians are doing to our people, especially sub-Saharan Africans. And when they escape that dehumanization, that disrespect, when they escape it and go to France, this is how they will be treated. This is how they will go through to even get to Britain. And when they go to Britain, watch this video. Listen to what this guy is telling them. You see how this guy is telling them? Look, he's telling them, he's asking them, and you can see the faces of these two young brothers, telling them, we don't need you in Britain. We are just a small island, and then we have enough. These are the people who ancestors came and stole everything from us, and not only their ancestors. As I was saying the other day, their companies are in Africa making everything from us, and even don't want to negotiate to share, to negotiate 50-50% of our resources. They want to take our resources for free. As our great master teacher once told us, Dr. Henry Clark, we have everything that they want. We have everything that they need. And unfortunately, they want to take it for free. These people will come to Africa. They are multinational companies, multilateral companies. They come to Africa. They want to take everything for free. African leaders are finding it difficult to negotiate 50-50 when it comes to our resources. They are so greedy that they want to take it for 80%, 80-20, 80% 20, 80-20, 75-25. They want to take your resources like that. And when they take it to their countries, and then your children are coming, this is how they treat them. I ask myself, the youth of Africa, when are we going to stand up and fight and demand that the resources of Africa will go to the benefit of the children of Africa? Africa is not poor, Kwame Nkrumah said, but the children of Africa are poor. The citizens of Africa are poor. Why? These are the questions we must ask ourselves. Africa is not poor but rich. Africa is rich and not poor, but the citizens are poor. What is the cause of that? What is the reason? Kwame Nkrumah saw this, and that was the reason why he was fighting for the unification of Africa, to the extent that he has to travel from sub-Saharan Africa to North Africa to marry, just to bring Africa unity. This was how far he could go for the united Africa. Today, it is up to me and you. It is me and you, our time, to fight for this unification of Africa. Because if Africa is not united, I am telling you, the children of Africa will continue 50, 60, 100 years to come, will continue to be running to Europe as they are doing now. And the Europeans are not ready to let Africa go. For that one, me and you should know that. And we should stop blaming them for that, because that is how they will forever be relevant and survive. But it is up to we, the citizens of Africa, to stand up and say enough is enough. We want a better future for African children. We want a better life for African children. I said it before. I was at work. In break time, we are sitting in a canteen having a conversation, and there were these young Europeans in their early 20s, just like these brothers in that video, who are running to catch trailers to go to Britain. But these were young Europeans. Two guys from Eastern Europe and the other one from Britain. And they were having an argument. Look at the privilege that the European has created for themselves. And these are the things that is pushing us to call for the unity of Africa. These were young Europeans. And look at the opportunity the privilege that their ancestors created for them. The system has created for them. They are sitting down in a canteen. They are having an argument among themselves. And then one is saying that, oh, Spain, if you go to holidays in Spain, Barcelona, it's really nice. And the other one is saying, oh, Portugal is better. Oh, Spain is better. Portugal is better. Or they are having an argument among themselves. Through the argument, they decided that they're going to travel the next shutdown. Normally, we have shutdowns. The next shutdown, that 1 week shutdown, they're going to travel to Spain and then spend 2 days in Spain and then travel to Portugal and then to settle the argument among themselves. So they all took their cell phones. They book holidays. The next holiday, they travel to Spain. From Spain, fly to Portugal, and came back. The argument didn't even and I was just sitting down and I was asking myself, this privilege that they created for themselves, even though they didn't, when will African children have this same privilege? When will children in Namibia and young guys in Namibia and in let's say Mozambique, or let's say Burkina Faso would just have argument among themselves as to which African country you go holidays is nicer, and they will just take their cell phones and then book holidays and travel to Namibia, travel to South Africa, travel to Mozambique, travel to Congo, come back and settle the argument. When is that gonna be? So you see, when you see us talking with passion like this, it is because of what we see and what we want for our people. How unselfish that we are. If it was left for us. But you see your people, when others are taking their cell phones, which as a matter of fact, all the minerals that they use to do the cell phone come from you. And the brain that came out with the idea of the cell phone come from you. And yet your children doesn't have the same opportunity, the same privilege that other people have. Why? The youth of Africa. I ask you, just imagine, ask yourself, the country that you are, when will children in Mali and children in Central African Republic will sit down in a canteen at work, have argument among themselves, and then they decided to settle at the argument by just taking their cell phones, book holidays, take flight, go to this country, spend 2 days, 3 days there, go to the other country, spend another days, and then come back to work and then settle the argument. When will you have that privilege? When will you, as African child, have that privilege? This privilege is only limited to, let's say, few people, few percentage of people, less than 2% of Africans can do that. And these are the politicians, these are our leaders. So we are calling on you. Join any of this group, One Map Africa, Continental Revolution, ACUP, a lot of groups. Join any of this group as an African. If you want to have this same privilege as an African, join any of these groups. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you are in Sudan, you are in Egypt, you are in Central African Republic, you are in Congo, you are in South Africa, you are in Ghana, you are in Burkina Faso, you are in Mozambique, wherever you are in Ethiopia, Eritrea, any part of Africa. Please join any of these groups. Let us all together bring our energies. Let us all together fight for a united Africa so that we can create the same privileges that the children of America, that the children of China, that the children of Europe are having. We can also create the same privileges for ourselves. We deserve better than we currently having now. Me and you know that. How can a continent that has 65% of world resources, mineral resources, how can the children of that continent be running after cars, be running after vehicles, dangerous way like this to go to a country that does not have that kind of resources? How is that possible? How did we allow ourselves to be taken advantage of like that? It is about time we put the guns down. Yes, mistakes were made. That was the reason why our forefathers were being enslaved. Mistakes were made, and then we have to bring an end to that. Before, it was guns after human beings. They used to give us guns so that we fight ourselves, capture ourselves, and give to them when they needed human beings. Today, they are giving us guns in exchange for our resources. So nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Before, during slavery, it was guns in exchange of human beings, African bodies, because they needed the bodies. Today, they don't need the bodies. They need minerals, our resources. So it is guns in exchange our resources. Can we continue to blame them? Can we continue to blame them? We must take responsibilities. It is about time we take some responsibilities and bring an end to this. The youth of Africa, let us put aside our differences. Whatever differences our forefathers used to have, it is about time we bring an end to it. Because when slavery came to Africa, it didn't spare nobody. When colonization came to Africa, it didn't spare nobody. We were all victims, and we are new colonialism today. We are victims. We are all victims of that. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you're coming from in Africa. We are all being exploited, and we must bring an end to this. If Africa is respected, the citizens of Africa will be respected. Everywhere on this planet Earth, you meet a European, he's respected. Even in a village in Africa where I come from, the European, when he's there, he's respected. Today, China, the citizens of China, everywhere you meet them, they are respected. Why can't me and you work hard towards this? Why can't we do the same thing for ourselves? Are we so that dumb? We are not. We are contributing to civilizations all over generations. We have always been contributors to civilizations. Why do we all of a sudden allow ourselves to be dehumanized like this? It is about time we bring an end to this. And I'm calling on you, join any group that is fighting for the unification of Africa. Please, thank you very much for coming around. I thank you. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, One African Mission. We have a mission. We have a mission, and our mission is to see a united Africa. We have a mission. Let us all come together and fight for this unification of Africa. I thank you very much for coming around. Until we see you next time, thank you. God bless you.